You're tuned into Balanced Life. Your Balanced Life podcast with Dr. Chris Biles, a space for people who want more energy, better recovery, calmer days, and long-term health without the hype or confusion.
Here, we talk about nutrition, fitness, stress, habits, hormones, and everyday wellness in a way that feels practical, supportive, and real-life focused. Because supplements aren't the goal, your lifestyle, your strength, and your well-being are. This is about intentional health and a life lived in balance. Welcome to a balanced life. Welcome to a balanced life.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to a Balanced Life podcast. I am your host, Dr. Chris Biles, soon to be Dr. Chris Biles. Let me just elaborate that. I do have my master's in exercise science, and I'm completing at the tail end. Actually, all I have to do is my research, and then once I'm turn that in, I'll be done. So graduation graduation date effective around May or so. So excited about that, looking to get that done. But besides all that, I hope you're doing well. I hope you had a great week. Welcome back to A Balanced Life. Okay. So with that being said, what if I told you that there's one habit that could improve your brain, your heart, your metabolism, immune system, mood, athletic performance, fat loss, and even longevity without costing you a single dollar? Would you believe me? Now, before you answer, I want you to ponder that in your head. Before you make that answer, let me just preface all this by saying this information is for educational purposes only, and in no way does it offer any type of medical advice whatsoever. All right? If you have any issues whatsoever, go seek your medical doctor as soon as possible. All right. Back to that being said. So, what did you think? Do you think if I told you, would you believe me? Would you believe me that there's one habit that can help with all that what I just mentioned, right? Well, if you haven't guessed it, or if you did guess it, congrats to you, but the habit is sleep. Sleep. Doesn't cost you $1. Lay down, get your sleep, get up, boom, boppity bop, you're good, all right? So, again, we are going to talk about what sleep is, right? Not just as a luxury, but as a biological necessity. This is, if you didn't realize it, sleep is a biological necessity. Why do you think that we fall asleep? Why do you think that our body makes us go to sleep, right? We're designed in that way, right? Our body is supposed to work a certain amount of time and it's supposed to rest a certain amount of time. That way you don't burn yourself out, make yourself sick, so forth and so on. Whatever it is, our body was designed that way, and it's perfectly designed, okay? Let me just put that out there as well, right? It's perfectly designed. Even when there's, no matter what the circumstance, the body is perfectly designed, right? Because it's got systems, it's got organs, it's got functions. Beautiful body, right? But you have to understand that sleep if you don't get enough sleep, if you're not sleeping, none of that matters. It doesn't matter how powerful you are. It doesn't matter how strong you are. Your sleep is dependent on biological necessity, okay? It is important that we get enough sleep in our life, okay? So if you train hard, eat well, take your supplements, track your steps, but you're sleeping 5 hours or less a night, this episode is for you, okay? Don't go nowhere, because we're not going anywhere. Anyway, so don't go anywhere because we're going to get right into it, all right? So why is sleep foundational to health, okay? Our health, like I mentioned before, is very dependent on how much sleep we're getting. If we're not getting enough sleep, our health can fail. Doesn't matter how much you're doing everything correctly. If the sleep is not on point, your body's not going to be able to recover. So we've kind of painted ourselves in a bind as a society. Because, I get it. We're trying to work, we're trying to make a living. We're doing things or allowing things to happen with these long nights out or working or still working into the night or never giving your body a break that is starting to cause us so many health problems in this country. You don't want to believe me. That's what can I say? I mean, but the truth is our healthcare system is struggling, and a lot of it is what we do to ourselves. Okay, so sleep is very important. Sleep is extremely important. It's not passive. It's an active biological repair state. Your body is going through some repair as you're sleeping, as you're resting, right? All that working out you did early in the day, the sleep is going to help repair the muscles, to help for you to grow, to help you get them gains. Right there, right? Boom. Yeah, I had to give you one. I had to give you one time, all right? But anyway, your body is going through repair state while you're sleeping, right? During sleep, there's muscle repair, there's hormone reset, there's memory consolidations, there's inflammation decreases, right? Blood sugar regulation improves. Get some sleep. Get some sleep. Now that's blood sugar regulation. I'm actually have subscribed, or I'm actually a member of ACSM. So those of you guys out there know about ACSM. Oh, wait a minute. They have exercise and sports science book articles that comes out, and I get them once a month since I've been a member. And they actually some good stuff in here. If you ever read an article, ACSM has some great ones. I think, oh man, I can't think right now. But there's another one that you can go online. It's escaping me right now. Anyway, there's another one you can go online and you can look up studies, right? Whatever type of study you want to look for. But in this one, there makes a reference to how a lack of sleep may affect blood sugar levels, right? It says the writers of this article summarize how if inefficient sleep impacts glycemic control and insulin sensitivity. Although individual study methods vary, there is consensus that insufficient sleep increases risk of type 2 diabetes, right? So there's research has been conducted to show that's what's going on, right? And so our sleep plays a big, important part. Like I said, blood sugar regulation improves. But the problem is with that is, as I mentioned in this article, is that if you have chronic sleep deprivation, that's associated with obesity, type 2 diabetes, right? Cardiovascular disease, depression and anxiety, and impaired immune function, right? And there's plenty of articles out there. There's an article that called Why We Sleep, right? That was published back in 2017. Sleep duration and mortality, the correlation between sleep deprivation and your mortality. The less you sleep, the more you're like basically digging your own grave, so to speak. The more you don't sleep, if I said that right. Yeah. Anyway, it's really important, again, for your basic functionality, right? And your body can't tell me that you don't think sleep is important, because if you've ever been doing like crazy things like I used to do, staying up for hours and not all hours, working, partying, then going from work back to a party after I was just hungover, doing just chill out stuff, you know what I mean? And when I did that, after a while, my body was just like, I'll go to sleep. No matter what I was trying to do, you're going to sleep. And eventually, that's what tells you as we live in this life, is that really don't have much of control over our life, right? Especially if you don't like doing simple stuff like this, like not getting enough sleep, it affects you, and your body will let you know. Your body will say, I'm done, done. You need rest, okay? Sleep is when your brain transfers short-term memories to long-term storage, right? So if you're not getting enough sleep, you're not going to remember a lot, right? It clears the metabolic waste via the lymphatic system, right? And it regulates neurotransmitters like serotonin and dopamine. That's the good stuff. The serotonin and dopamine, that's what you want. Okay? So just understand, poor sleep equals brain fog, equals poor decision making, equals emotional dysregulation, excuse me. I don't have my glasses on, so excuse me. But anyway, it's important to get that sleep, right? The sleep is so important for us, right? there's articles again that's written that talks about this. Again, you guys can go look this up, but there's an article that's called "Sleep Drives Metabolic Clearance from the Adult Brain." Right? It effects of sleep deprivation on cognition, your brain remembering things. Right? And I'm actually, as I'm talking to you, I'm kind of like preaching to the choir. Right? I'm taking this information for myself because up until recently, I guess within the last 2 weeks or so, just from a life change in my life. I would stay up all hours of night. It would be nothing for me to get 4 hours of sleep, right? But I'd be at work. I'd be starting to feel lightheaded, just stupid stuff, right? And I'm getting to it. Like, remember, I told you I'm 49, so I got to do everything I possibly can to not break myself down, right? And so up until recently, I would get to do that and sleep 5 hours, 4 hours maybe, get up, go work out. The one thing in that article that it does say that is that they come to the conclusion is that even if you are getting lack of sleep, where exercise in the morning actually helps control your risk of getting type 2 diabetes. But however, you don't want to keep doing that, right? Your body still needs to recover some time, right? It's just that important for the growth. Like if you ever watch bodybuilders like Kevin Levrone and oh man, a few of those people, they would work out and then sleep. They would rest. Okay. If you want recovery, if you want your muscles to joints, if you want your cognition to stay there, if you want to be healthy long term, you got to get to sleep because the sleep's going to help repair your body from all the things that you did to it throughout the day, right? And if you're adding on and combining day after day after day and not getting enough sleep, that's can be problematic. Okay. Now, here's one of the things that you probably never thought of. Maybe you did, right? But you ever notice how when you're up a late at night, you have the urge to eat? Well, it's because you're messing with what's called the circadian rhythm. And circadian rhythm, your body like gets to recharge during that time period. And it's usually at nighttime, right? When we don't do that, we throw that off. Okay. Now, also another thing that gets thrown off is your side of sleep. It makes you want to it gets you hungry. It keeps you hungry, right? Your hunger increases by staying up, right? There's a hormone that is called leptin that actually, when everything's going good with your body, that hormone kicks on about being satiated or full, right? You don't feel like the urge to eat all the time. You're only eating what you really necessarily need. And I've actually experienced that right now during this last couple of weeks because I had a lifestyle change. So it requires me for getting up at about 3 in the morning now. And when I get up at 3 in the morning, I get my workout in. I only eat what I need. I only eat what I need, right? I'm not eating extra. But with me getting up at 3 o'clock in the morning, I'm going to bed about 8:30 now. Maybe 9 if I can. But going to bed at that early, that state, I know I'm getting older. But going to bed that early, it just feels weird to me. But that's what I'm doing. That's what I had to do. Right. So it's going to help. That's what I'm noticing. It's helped increase the hormone leptin that gets my satiety hormone. Right. I feel like I don't need anything. I don't want a snack. I don't want to eat. Right. I'm actually kind of full. I ate over the weekend. I messed up. I had my little cheat weekend and I felt like I ate too much. So that little change alone. Right. If you're having struggling with losing weight, just change when you go to sleep. Right. And then give yourself a time period where you don't eat at. That's what I would recommend. Give yourself a time, like a complete cutoff point that after this point, I'm eating nothing. If you do anything, drink water. Or if you have to have something small, like a piece of fruit or some blueberries, right? Won't mess up your calories too much. It'll give you some antioxidants, some healthy, some fiber, some healthy fruit or sweetness, right? So I would say, if anything, do that, but try to make it a cutoff point to when you eat so your body can sleep. The one thing that we don't want to do is have your body digesting food while you're trying to sleep. Your body's doing too much work. You're not truly getting any rest, okay? But it also helps with the insulin sensitivity. Those of us who are insulin sensitive, getting more sleep would actually help with that. It'll help improve that. It'll help improve your cortisol levels. Cortisol is one of those things that actually does cause fatness, or being overweight around the midsection. For some of us men, we're having a lot of stress levels, hormone levels. So we're getting in our midsection. That's why it's usually one of the hardest parts to get rid of for us men. But the quickest to come on, right? But cortisol levels, it helps directly impact. It directly impacts your hormone levels, your cortisol levels. Okay. So again, when sleep is low, you have the side effects, as you will, of hunger increasing, like I mentioned, craving spiking. You're always craving something. That's why those McDonald's commercials late at night is not a good thing to look at, because now you want that. I used to get back in the day. I used to stay up late, and then because I lived in California back in the day, and I'd get all of a sudden I need some Krispy Kreme donuts, right? I need some Krispy Kreme donuts, and so I get up out my bed and go get some Krispy Kreme donuts, right? Just doing silly stuff, but craving spikes during that time period. Fat loss stalls if you're in a part where you're stalling, right? You're at a plateau. Well, you might need to get some rest, right? Getting some rest is going to be so beneficial for you in the long run, right? All right. I want you to keep this, and I want you to think about this. Now, while you think, get your think caps on. Let me go ahead and get some water. Excuse me. So I want you to think about this for a second. Put this in your mental Rolodex. So research is looking and noticing, and they've come to see that even 1 week of sleep restriction can reduce insulin sensitivity by 20 to 30%. Right? It can reduce insulin sensitivity by 20 to 30%. So just imagine if you got a little extra hour of sleep every night, what that could do for you. Okay. I hope nobody's like I was, 4 to 5 hours a night, but I did it. I don't know what it was. I think I always felt like I was missing something. So let me go ahead and stay up. Right. If I go ahead and stay up, I won't miss nothing, but you want to get to sleep. Okay. And as I'm getting older, that's the one thing that I'm really trying to pull away from. And I've noticed that as I've gotten a little more, focus on my sleep, that I lost a little bit of weight quickly, right? So don't neglect sleep, okay? If you get anything from the day, don't neglect your sleep. All right. So I think at this point, it's time for us to take a little quick pause, right? Because if you're serious really about living a balanced life, what you put into your body matters just as much as you rest, okay? So I want you to take a quick second. We're going to take a quick break, a quick word from our sponsors, and then we're going to come on back and dive back into this topic of sleep. All right? Don't fall asleep while you wait.
Sponsored by Balanced Life Supplements and their salted caramel whey protein. It's a smooth, rich protein shake with sweet caramel flavor. Tastes amazing whether you mix it with water, milk, or in a smoothie. Perfect for recovery. Busy days. Anyone who wants a great tasting source of protein. Holistic Doctor approved. Third party tested.
Check it out at BalanceLifeSubs.com. That's right, BalanceLifeSubs.com. Your protein source day and night.
Welcome back to Balanced Life. This is your host, Dr. Chris Biles, in the house, in the place to be, to continue on with this conversation about sleep. All right. So you just saw the commercial, right? And that was an old one. Okay. So we had the protein one. We didn't want to just bombard you guys with a lot of ads and everything, with different ads. But just if you are looking or thinking about some supplements that could help with your sleep, there's a few of them. There's melatonin, which has been widely researched and has been shown to actually help with that. They have some companies out there that have a melatonin. It's like 2 melatonins in it, where like one gets you to sleep fast, another one keeps you asleep. There's quite a bit of stuff out there. So melatonin's a good one. Magnesium, if you increase your magnesium, research has shown that magnesium actually helps help you get to sleep. And there's some medication or some supplements out there, excuse me, that have a combination of magnesium and melatonin in it. So those are some good things that you can take. If I would recommend anything, that's what I do. So that being said, just to let you know. So again, this show is not about supplements, but just if you're wanting something extra to help changing up how you're doing things to get more sleep, then I think those supplements would be very helpful. But again, this isn't medical advice at all. It's just educational purposes only. All right. So with that being said, we're going to get right back to it. And so we're looking at the different things that are really beneficial when you get more sleep. What does your body benefit from it? And your cardiovascular health is one of the things that also benefits in a big way when you get enough sleep. So sleep is essential for blood pressure regulation, heart rate variability, right? There's so many different other things, but as far as your cardiovascular health, it's great for your heart, right? Blood pressure regulation, and also try not to be having so much stress in your life. Stress is a part of your blood pressure going up, increasing, what have you. I know it's hard, especially with the way things are in the world today with the economy and just trying to make ends meet. And there's just so much stuff going on. I think the focus has changed from, it's too much negativity going on in the world right now, right? From what's on the news and everybody's against everybody. And so that in itself could cause a lot of stress, and which will raise high blood pressure. So what I would say is try to not focus on the negative so much along with your journey, trying to get more sleep. And it could be a thing too with that if you're really focused on negative things or what things are not going well in your life. Maybe that is a cause of not getting sleep because you're worried about, one moment to the next. And I would highly recommend that you try to change that as best you can. I don't know what that is. Everybody has different ways to do the things they need to do, right, for their lives. But whatever it is, I say do it, right? But if you to get you out of that funk, to get you happy, to get your mood regulated, to get stress away from your life, you don't want to have stress, right? Stress is, the saying, stress kills. Well, it is. And in life, there's multiple stress levels. Even when you work out, your body goes through a little bit of stress, but you're not keeping your body in that or a fight or flight mechanism 100% of the day, all day long. But when you're stressed out and you're upset about something, that's what it almost replicates, right? And so let's calm down as much stress as possible in our lives, okay? But with that being said, even on top of stress, dealing with your heart, causing high blood pressure. Well, lack of sleep is also the same thing. If you have a regular sleep pattern, then your blood pressure is regulated and your heart rate variability is correct, is the way it should be, right? But however, short sleep duration, if you guessed it, increases the chance of hypertension, right? That's high blood pressure. Stroke risk, anything your heart's pumping too much or not pumping enough, and heart attack risk, right? This all can be associated to lack of sleep. And if you're always stressed about something, there's some people that they're so stressed about stuff they can't go to bed, right? So what is that all about? Even with this paper that was written a couple of years ago, he came to the conclusion that a lack of sleep, or that was his hypothesis or whatever when he wrote all his findings, that lack of sleep, less than 5 hours of sleep a night, I believe it is, five or below, probably even 6 or below. But anyway, that can help or that can affect type 2 diabetes, or be one of the causes of type 2 diabetes, right? But now we can see with this that sleeping less than 6 hours per night is linked also to 20 to 40% increase in cardiovascular events, heart attack, right? Whatever, It could be linked to it. So I would highly recommend, again, that you get enough sleep, you know, because what else is going to happen? So if you're not putting yourself in a negative state with lack of sleep, then by putting yourself in sleep or getting the right amount of sleep, then you're putting yourself in a positive state, right? And it's going to help with so many things, because you got to go through that deep sleep. You got to go through the REM sleep, which is the deep sleep. Your body starts repairing, right? Your immune cells start regenerating. Your immune cells start regenerating. Cytokines regulate inflammation. Antibody response improves, right? But on the flip side of that, if you sleep less than 6 hours, you are more likely to get sick, recover slower. Now, there's a couple other reasons why you may not recover slower. Of course, lack of sleep is not the only thing that's associated with that. There are other things. And if you're not actually going to a doctor or really check it out with your physician, then you're not really going to know what that is. But there are other things that can cause you get sick or recover slower, right? Some of those things that I was dealing with a client a couple months ago, actually, and he was talking about how he had failed and he was taking for a long time for his wounds to heal. And I looked it up and did some research. Well, one of the things for wounds not healing is nutrient deficiency, right? Lack of vitamins, minerals, those type of things. And so I asked him, I said, hey, do you ever take your vitamins? He said, no. I said, why don't you try a multivitamin, see if that helps? So he took the multivitamin, he started taking it, and his wounds started healing. So there's a correlation for a few things that can cause you to recover slower. But however, sleep is definitely one of the things that can be the cause to you not recovering as you should be, right? So I'm like, man, I know I'm getting older, but dang, no, you're not recovering as like you should, because you're not getting enough sleep. Your body needs sleep, right? We were never designed to constantly work and can work and work and work, nor were we designed to just sit down for long periods of time, right? As I'm sitting here in my chair talking to you, right? We're never designed for these things. We were designed for working and then sleeping to recover from the work that you did. And that's also the importance when you go to working out. Maybe, again, like I mentioned, maybe you're not recovering, or maybe you're not seeing the results that you used to see at one point. It could be lack of sleep, okay? So we got to really, really look into that and think about that. Okay? And I'm not the only one that's saying it. There's research out there that's saying the exact same thing. There's a study written in 2015 called Why Sleep is Important for Immune Function, right? It's important for immune function. If you're finding yourself sick a lot, right? It could be all types of things, right? But just see if you can get some sleep, right? You got to give a cold rest sometimes too, right? You got to lay on down, get you some tissues and stick them up your nose, and put some Bengay, what do they call it? Yeah, my grandma used to do Bengay on your chest, and wrap up with something around your neck, and you sit back and you put a whole bunch of clothes on, and you go to sleep. And when you get up, after you do that sleep, a few of those, you start feeling better. I'm trying to tell you, right? Y'all don't know that old school stuff right there, right? So sleep is one of those things that is a skill, as much as, a lot of things, because we're humans, right? A lot of things comes easier to us. Like, oh, I can do that, I can do that, I can do that. But this is something that has to be practiced. You have to tell yourself and get yourself into bed at a certain time. You have to set your alarm, you have to get up at a certain time. I would say that if you're not getting enough sleep, of course, you just don't want to start off with that, but if you have some weekends off, sleep in a little bit longer than you normally would. Right? Let your body start the process. Sleep in a little bit later, right? So if you normally throughout the week get up at, say, 4 o'clock, get up at 10 o'clock on your off day. Get up at 9 o'clock, like just a little bit early, a little bit later. And then do that if you have the 2 days off, like some people, if you have the 2 days off in a row, if you have to do that every night. But if your off days are sporadic throughout the week, practice doing that. When you're off, sleep a little bit longer, right? And tell somebody, leave you alone, whoever it is, your spouse, your significant other. Look, now I'm about to sleep in with me. Okay. So get your sleep and try and start going to bed earlier and catch up, because as much as you can try and stay up as much as you want to stay up, life is flying by. Okay. If you have not realized that, it was just January 2025 a minute ago, right? And now it's January 2026. What happened? Okay. So, and things have changed so much within that year. But that's besides the point. You got to practice it. It's like any skill, it has to be trained. Anything you want to do has to be trained. You don't know how to do push-ups, have to be trained. You know how to do pull-ups, trained. If you don't know how to go to sleep, trained, right? Find some stuff, get your little routine. Most experts say start shutting down, right? And I'll share those with you right now. There are some tips that you can do to help with your sleep, to get back to sleep. So again, go start with a consistent sleep or wake time. So when I'm going to bed and when I'm waking up, okay? So if you have to get 7 hours of sleep and you plan on getting up at 3 or 4, right, then you have to count backwards for 8 hours of sleep. And it may sound crazy. For me right now, it's 8:30 in the evening. 9 o'clock is the absolute latest. I'm up, but anyway, 8:30 in the evening. And for me, as long as I've done what I've done, start staying up late, that sounds crazy to me. I'm like, keep telling myself, like, I cannot believe I'm going to bed this early, right? And yeah, go through that moment. Don't believe it. You know what I mean? So consistent sleep and wake time. Get that early morning sunlight exposure. So if you go to work early like I do, and you are at the job before it gets light, then when on your first break, go stand outside, get you some sun. Right? Get you some morning sunlight exposure. That's the best exposure you're going to get from the sun, because the sun is waking up just like you are. Most people would wake up. So get the morning sun, right? Try to cool, dark sleep. Try a cool, dark sleep environment. Now, for me, there's only so much coolness I'm going to be able to handle in my bedroom. I don't like it cold. I'm not a big fan of the air conditioning. Excuse me. I know you guys are gasping for air right now and mortified, but I don't like air conditioning. You know, when I grew up, we didn't have air conditioning. You had to stand in front of a fan, and not too long because you might block the fan from everybody else. But you had the fan. Okay, windows down at night, with the breeze, it was nice. Okay, so I didn't grow up with air conditioning, so I don't particularly like air conditioning, right? And that's just me. But so if you can handle however cool you like in your sleep environment, that's on you. For me, I'm not a big fan of cool sleep environments. But one of the recommendations would say if that's what you like, go to a cool, dark sleep environment. You also want to limit your screen time between 60 to 90 minutes prior to bedtime. Okay, so put the phone down, put the phone in another room. If you hopefully you have a normal alarm clock, an old school one that you have to actually reach out and smack it. You know, they got those ones now. And if you go to sleep, you won't have to have crazy alarms like this, but they have those ones I heard that they jump off the table and you have to go chase it down to shut it off, or the ones that do math. Yeah, that's too much. But anyway, limited screen time. Okay. Reduce caffeine after 2 p.m. Especially if you're someone who's caffeine sensitive, right? Limit the caffeine after 2 p.m., right? Or if you're one of those people that get up early in the morning out to work out, working out is actually one of the best ways to keep you up. It gives you energy. There's a lot of great benefits to working out. But if you need coffee, I would try and drink some water first, and then again limit your caffeine to 2 p.m. or so, depending on what time. What works for you. Some people might need 2 p.m. might be a good time. I wouldn't do 5 p.m. or something like that. But for me, caffeine is only good in the morning anyway. So I try to reduce that caffeine after 2 p.m. Okay, and then create a wind down routine. Create a wind down routine. What is that going to be? Am I going to read before bed? Reading before bed is a great way to do it as well. But if I'm going to read before bed, whatever. pray. If you're if you're a praying person, that's what I would say to do. Really try and find your wind down routine, and be in the bed and commit to it, right? So it has to be trained. It's not a skill that you pick up. It has to be trained. Okay. So, no, I hope I didn't bore you too much with the talk about sleep. Hope you didn't fall asleep. But anyway, so if you're trying to improve your health, your performance, your body composition, or your mental clarity, sleep is not optional. Not optional, people. You got to get your sleep. You don't get healthier by doing more. You get healthier by recovering better. Okay? You want to get healthy, recover better. So if this episode helped you at all, share it with somebody who's always tired. Share this with somebody. Oh, that's great. Share this with someone who's always tired, right? Unless they're narcoleptic or whatever. Maybe not, but still, share this with somebody that you know is always tired. And subscribe to A Balanced Life podcast. Leave a review. It helps more than you know. All right. With that being said, I'm Dr. Chris Biles. And remember, health isn't extreme. It's balanced. Till next time, take care, people.
Thanks for listening to A Balanced Life with your host, Dr. Chris Biles.
Take care of your body, your mind, and your spirit.
Keep moving forward. See you next time.